Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This channel's regular broadcast is interrupted for a special coverage of the Magik, Illyana and Storm limited series, published by Marvel Comics in 1983 and 1984. In the previous episode we saw how Cat and Illyana made their way trying to escape Limbo. They got separated and Illyana ran into Sim. Right before that encounter she had seen the mutilated dead body of her brother hanging on a wall. Sim was ragdolling Illyana but got interrupted by Cat, who had found them again, and the two of them were able to escape. After proceeding with their journey, Cat continued training Illyana to make a warrior out of her. She got warned by Storm, who asked her to stop with what she was planning on doing and to return back to her secret garden in Limbo. Cat declined and they proceeded to make their way to Belasco Citadel, to try and use the weakness in the barrier there to get Illyana home. The corrupted Nightcrawler tried to stop them, but during their battle, he got killed in the end by Cat. Cat then used her knowledge of dimensional barriers and her powers to get Illyana back to Earth, and when they were just inches away from succeeding, Belasco used his magic to prevent that from happening, returning them back to where they started, namely in Belasco's castle. He then punished Cat for this attempt and for slaying Nightcrawler. He used the spell to change her even more into the likeness of a cat than he already had, and Illyana started getting intrigued by the power Belasco holds. Belasco then tightened his hold on Illyana, forced her to cut herself and to create the second bloodstone with her own blood, and told her her apprenticeship would begin the next morning. In seeing this, Storm got angry because Cat refused to listen to her, and now they were even farther away from home. Storm realizes that she now has to kill the both of them for the sake of their souls and for the sake of the world itself, something she had been trying to and wanting to prevent, but it's too late now. Magik, Storm and Illyana, issue number 3. Illyana Rasputin is becoming more and more versed in the arcane arts. Over the past several years, she has become Belasco's willing apprentice. He is her lord and master, a demon mage in the service of the Dark Ones, the elder gods of Earth. She thrills to his voice, his touch, and his very presence. If she works hard, she will become just like him. That's what he told her. A part of her hungers for the day, but another part of her still dreads that thought. Like everything else in Limbo, her soul has become corrupted and evil, but so far, she is still in control. If it is up to Belasco, she will become the means of humanity's damnation. And right now, Belasco wants her to show him what she has learned. She starts using her magic on a little creature she has raised from birth. She calls it Squidge, named after the strange and delightful noises it makes when it's talking. She loves the creature and it trusts her as it would one of its own kind. This beast has a simple soul, and it is easily shaped by her sorceries into an image of her own. Squidge was a gentle beast, but it now no longer is. It knows that Illyana is the cause of its transformation, and it leaps at her, with its claws poised to rip her eyes to shreds. She yells out for Belasco and yells with pain as Squidge rakes her cheek and she starts to bleed, but she manages to slap him away by herself. The Squidge runs away, looking for a place to hide, and Illyana wants to catch it. She is horrified with what she has done and is determined to set it right. The castle they are in is huge, and if it manages to get out of the study they are in, she will probably never find it again. But Illyana doesn't have to worry about that. Since Cat is there with them, something Illyana was not aware of, and seeing her suddenly appear makes Illyana jump. It has been years since Cat's further transformation, but Illyana is still not used to seeing how much she has changed. She was once human, but Belasco's spell have twisted her body and soul entirely. She is no longer the kitty pryde Illyana once knew. Illyana can never forget what happened to Cat is her fault, and the same goes for the deaths of most of Cat's fellow X-Men, including her beloved brother Piotr. Illyana sees how Cat manages to capture the Squidge, and how she starts feasting on it. But it only whets her appetite. She starts looking at Illyana, who in turn tells Belasco that she does not like the way Cat is looking at her. He tells her that if she doesn't have any fear, she simply has nothing to fear, and that she surely doesn't have to worry about Cat harming her, since the two of them were such close friends. And he then starts laughing at her, because he's testing her at the same time. He's testing her bravery versus her willingness to strike down those she had once cared for. She is tempted to strike, but her courage wins. Belasco then tells Illyana that he expected better of her. She has mastered the soul spell, but she had given no thought to its consequences. The wound on her face is a fault of her own overconfidence and carelessness, and he tells her that he should probably make her wear the scar forever, as a reminder. But he then tells her to cast a healing enchantment instead, before Cat is tempted beyond all restraint at the sight of her blood. Illyana tells him she's sorry and that she will do better next time, and he says that of course she will. He tells her to retire to her bedroom, to meditate on today's lessons and to prepare herself for tomorrow. She then walks past Cat and loses all her courage when she shows off her teeth. Illyana starts running for her life, up the stairs, faster than the squidge did because she got Cat hot on her heels. If Cat catches her, she is sure she will share the same fate as her pet, and she wonders how much that will hurt. She thinks about how easy it would be, to slow her pace a step or two and to just let her do it. But then again, she has seen Belasco raise the dead, and she realizes that it wouldn't make a difference, and she continues running all the more quickly. When she returns to her bedroom, she wastes precious moments barring her door, but it's useless, because Cat can simply phase through it with her mutant ability. She thinks of her brother and how he was a mutant too, and wonders if she is one herself. She remembers how his powers didn't start manifesting until he had puberty, and that, for her, is still 2 years away, but she wishes she had powers now. She could probably stop Cat with spells, but she's too scared to think of any, and she yells to Cat to stay back, to not come here, and to go away. She yells out and asks Belasco to save her, but Belasco does not answer, and Illyana imagines him watching the scene unfold in his crying pool, simply laughing at her helplessness and terror. She is sobbing so loud that at first she can't hear Cat speak. She is saying Illyana's name. Illyana has not heard her say any word ever since Belasco changed her in front of her eyes, back when Illyana was 9 years old, which is over 2 years ago. But when Illyana looks in Cat's eyes as she's saying her name, she sees the shadow of a woman she once was, and it's more than Illyana can bear, and she lashes out at her. She throws a pillow at Cat in anger and tells her to get out of here, as she curses her and tells her to leave her alone. But Cat simply tears the pillow up. All kinds of words start popping up in Illyana's head, words which unlock a dark door in her mind, and it suddenly swings open wide. She tingles all over and energy flows through the door and through her. It explodes from her outstretched arm and hand, which she is aiming at Cat. It surrounds Cat, surprises her, hurts her and throws her on the floor, and in a flash, Cat is gone. And Illyana knows that she will never return. She instantly regrets what she has done to Cat. She tried to approach her as a friend and Illyana just hurt her, just like Belasco does. The only difference is that he forces Cat to stay with him. And what Cat doesn't know is that Illyana is just as scared as she is. She did not cast any formal spell, but the words of power were just there when she needed them. She had opened the door in her mind before, but only for a fraction, and only during the lessons she had been getting from Belasco. She lies on her bed, clenching the sheets, and she can still feel the power. Some of it is inside of her, but most of it is waiting behind the gate, behind the door where the Dark Ones dwell. This power is alive. It is aware of her, just as much a part of her as she has just made herself a part of it. It welcomes her, and it wants her to call on the power again, and again, and again. Illyana doesn't want to call on it again, but she knows she will. She gets up from her bed and thinks that Belasco probably did not count on her being liked by his dark gods as much as she is. If he finds out, he will be angry. She wonders if she can surprise him in another way as well, and she starts casting a magic circle. When Illyana first came to Limbo, she was looked after by Storm, the leader of the X-Men, who had been the mistress of the winds when she was young and still on Earth, but who would also become a sorceress when she got older in Limbo. She had started teaching Illyana in the magic arts before Belasco would. The magic circle she's casting will protect the caster from harm if the next spell goes wrong. At least, it's supposed to do that. Once the circle is completed, she crafts a pentagram inside as well. She starts to levitate herself while meditating. Belasco's magic circles are made of red and black fire, and he stands with the cardinal point behind him. Storm's magic circles, on the other hand, are silver, and she faces the same point. Their intentions when casting those circles are entirely different. Belasco's are to destroy, to hurt things and people, while Storm's are to create and heal. Illyana's circles are silver, just like Storm. She relaxes and tries to sense each and every individual molecule in her body. She then takes a little part of herself and combines it with other molecules and elements of the air around her. Compared to what she did earlier to the squidge, what she is doing now is a lot more impressive. Storm had told her before that destruction is always easier than creation is. She then creates an acorn out of seemingly nothing, just like Storm had done before her, and Illyana thinks about where she will plant hers. She opens one of her eyes to take a look at it, and suddenly the acorn explodes. It turns into the black darkness she had seen before and it scares her. So much so that she loses all her concentration and she falls to the ground, seemingly unconscious. When she comes to, she realizes that she can't be dead, because she's hurting way too much. She hears a voice but doesn't fully realize it yet. All she can think about is the acorn, rotten and corrupted on the inside, just like she herself is. The voice tells her that so is she, but it tells her that the evil can be fought, that power can only corrupt her if she allows it. And Illyana then realizes it's the voice of Storm talking to her. Storm asks her if she really thought she would forget about her, or leave her to her fate. Illyana tells her that she thought she wouldn't be able to do anything for her, after the horrible thing which had happened to Cat, and she asks her if there's anything they can do for her. Storm tells her that she will do what must be done, and Illyana says that she is glad to see her as she tries to touch her. But she is not able to touch her. Storm tells her that this is only her astral projection, but she will be with her soon. Illyana tells Storm that she has a plan. She tells her that she is now Belasco's apprentice, and that she has been a good girl ever since she arrived. She is convinced that Belasco does not have any idea how she really feels about him, and she tells her that she spent every chance she gets in his library, studying his magic books, his grimoires. She is certain that she can find a spell in there to destroy him, but Storm forbids her to do so. Illyana tells Storm that she doesn't understand. She says that if she doesn't act soon, it will be too late. Illyana can feel that Belasco's influence on her is growing stronger each and every day, no matter how hard she tries to resist. She responds to him more and more. Something inside of her wants what he has to offer. She tells Storm that she likes the power and she likes using it. She has done awful and hateful things already and knows that she will do more and worse things in the future. Illyana then tells Storm that together they might be able to accomplish what neither of them can do alone. She asks Storm to please try, at the very least. Storm just looks at her, with a sad look on her face, and asks her if she's really so eager to share Cat's fate. Illyana tells her that she will probably share the same fate anyways, even if she does nothing. She basically has nothing to lose. But Storm tells her that she has far more to lose than she realizes. Illyana then desperately tells Storm to help her, but Storm's projection disappears, and she tells her that she will, in her own time and on her own way. And until then, Illyana will have to remain patient. Illyana then just gets into bed. Disgruntled with being left behind by Storm, she starts to wonder if that even was Storm. It might have been Belasco, using his magic to find out Illyana's true intentions. Maybe he has known about her true feelings all along, and this was his way of trying to send a warning to her, scaring her, because her research is getting too close to success. She realizes she can't really sneak out of her room, with Catherine and Sim patrolling the Citadel. She needs to find a way to move instantly from place to place, just like Nightcrawler when he teleports. She knows spells like that exist, but Belasco has been keeping them a secret from her. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a light circle appears on the ceiling. Stepping discs is what Cat would call them. They can transport a person through Limbo in both space and time. This is the first time though that Illyana has ever seen them inside of the castle. Even though they are scattered all around Limbo, Belasco has been keeping them away from his citadel. She thinks about it being no use on the ceiling and she wishes that it would come closer to her. And suddenly it does. She instantly knows that it was her doing, but it wasn't magic. Somehow she was able to tap into another kind of power. One that comes from deep inside of her. She basically made the disc do what she wanted it to do. But at that moment she hears voices outside of her room and one of them is Belasco's voice. She is now getting scared that he knows what she's doing. She has been foolish in believing that she would be safe simply because she was in her room. But Belasco knows everything that's going on in Limbo. It is his creation and he's basically Limbo's god. And she knows that if he catches her, she will certainly get punished by him. And in the meantime, Illyana has lost sight of the light circle on the wall. She is panicking and doesn't know what to do. But then a blinding flash appears from underneath her bed, and she now realizes where the circle had gone to, and one small instant later, she herself is gone as well. Illyana has now arrived in the tunnels which form a network through most of Limbo. She has done it. She has made her way out of the Citadel, but just thinking about it and wishing it to be so. She wonders if this is her mutant power, to be able to control a stepping disc, and she thinks it's a wonderful thing. She had not realized she had turned the right age to start manifesting her mutant powers, and she wasn't even sure if she had any. But what she does realize is that she has been in Belasco's hands for longer than she figured she had. According to both Cat and Storm, time flows differently while in Limbo than it would on Earth. She thinks to herself that she has to practice with the stepping disc, so they can send her to Belasco's library. But she can't finish the thought as she is suddenly hit by a car from out of nowhere. And in this car are the new mutants, and they have no idea what happened to them, but they can see Illyana lying on the floor. Or so they think. Roberta says that it's Illyana, but Sam says that it can't be her because she's too young. And Illyana has no idea who these people are. She has never seen these people before in her life, but yet, somehow, they seem to know who she is. And in just the same way the car appeared, it vanishes in thin air, leaving Illyana behind. She knows that she can't delay much further even though she would want to. Belasco knows what will pop up next. She knows she has to summon another disc, crosses her fingers and hopes for the best, and she steps onto it. And when she appears again, she is in Belasco's library, right where she wanted, surprised that she has reached it on her first try. She couldn't imagine that it would be this easy, right in front of the pedestal which holds Belasco's grimoire. But she won't be able to get to it, because another projection of Storm appears and tells her to stop what she's trying to do. And a gust of wind shoves her backwards, right into a light circle that she had not summoned, nor realized it was there. Illyana knows that Storm's control over the weather isn't what it used to be, and she thinks that she didn't mean to hurt her, but the gust of wind she used was so strong that it actually did. Once she has recovered from Storm's attack, she finds out that she's now in the gallery, which is overlooking the throne room of Belasco. She can't help herself and takes a little peek inside the room, just to see if the coast is clear, but it becomes clear to her that it isn't. She finds out that the last light circle she teleported through moved her in time as well as in space. She sees two people fighting. One of them is Belasco and he looks the same as ever, but the other one is Storm in her prime. Both as an elemental and as a sorceress, and it becomes clear to Illyana that against this form of Storm, Belasco is clearly outmatched. Illyana sees and hears Belasco begging for his life, but Storm gives him the mercy he deserves, and kills him, with all the power she has got to her disposal. Illyana sees Belasco's lifeless body lying on the floor, and she now sees Storm changing right before her very eyes. It is a change that is befitting this murder, the murder of Illyana's loving lord. And Storm is suffering. Apart from the fact that she's a woman and she has 2 arms, she is changing into the image of the same monster she has just slain. Illyana wants to run away. Storm is her friend and she cannot bear to watch this. But she does though, because, with what she's planning on doing, she sees herself standing in Storm's place. And then she sees a dark figure appear, right behind Storm, asking her if she really thought he would be slain so easily. He tells her that she must not forget that he is the master of Limbo. Whatever exists here does so by his will and at his sufferance. With Storm being scrunched up on the floor, Belasco sits himself down on his throne, turns his head towards Illyana and says that this place may be his prison, but within it he is immune from death. He continues by telling Storm that it was not he who perished under the fury of her lightning, but instead it was the last shreds of her cherished innocence. Her foe was helpless, he had surrendered already, and yet Storm still unleashed her fury, and thereby she became totally and irrevocably corrupt. The strongest willed and most noble of the X-Men, in her rage and hate, her lust for blood and revenge, proved herself no better than the creature she was fighting. He tells her that whatever happens, she is now bound to him, body and soul, until the end of time. Illyana can't bear seeing this. She screams out no, and the light circle instantly takes her away from this nightmare from the past and back to the present. Back to Belasco Citadel, right behind the battlements on top of the outer wall of the castle. Right into the hands of Sim, who had been looking for her. He grabs Illyana by the hair and tells her that his boss Belasco is not in the best of moods. That he wants her bad, but she isn't where he expected her to be, and he doesn't like that. Illyana screams out and tells him he's hurting her, and he responds by saying that that's the idea. Illyana had been punished once before by Sim, and she swore for that to never happen again. She would rather die before allowing that to happen. She casts a flare spell which dazzles him and he loses his balance. He trips right into a light circle which she made appear from out of nowhere. She has no idea where or when she sent him, but she knows it should be a long time before he makes his way back. She takes a look below and can see the castle has been breached. She had always thought that that would be impossible. And she can tell by the wind, rain and lightning surrounding the stronghold who would be responsible for this. As she makes her way downstairs, she thinks that she finally understands why Storm did everything in her power to stop her. She simply did not want Illyana to repeat the mistake she herself had made, which leaves the question of why Storm would be attacking right now. Illyana saw that Storm was no match for Belasco before, when she was younger, and now that she's old, probably much less so. And then it hits Illyana. She now realizes that Storm has come here to rescue her from Belasco. She arrives at the room where Storm and Belasco are fighting one another. She thinks that it would be best for her to summon a stepping disc to teleport herself and Storm out of here. Back to Storm's garden, where they will be safe before it's too late. She tries to summon a stepping disc, but she can't concentrate. Her thoughts and heart are racing way too fast, and she's not successful in summoning a disc. In the meantime, Storm is not only being attacked by Belasco, but by Cat as well, who flanked her and manages to catch Storm off guard. Illyana then in turn attacks Cat, while carrying a torch, and tells her to get away. She yells to her to leave Storm alone, who is now lying on the ground while she tries to strike her with the torch. Belasco then tells Illyana, while he calls her his daughter, that Cat was only executing his will, and he continues by telling her that he does not take kindly to defiance, and that perhaps a few scars will teach her the proper respect. Cat then immediately attacks Illyana. Illyana tells her to not do this and to try and remember who she is, but she slashes Illyana with the sharp claws regardless. Illyana ends up on the floor, against the wall, and knows that she's hurting. She has seen Cat's claws cut through stone and steel before, and she also knows that words are now useless against her. Belasco's hold on Cat is too strong. Illyana remembers how when she was little, Cat fought a tiger armed with only a dagger. That beast was a lot bigger than Cat, with 2 heads and huge teeth, but it never had a chance. Illyana knows that she herself will now have to do a lot better than that. She is barehanded and up against the woman who taught her to fight. She jumps on Cat's back and maneuvers herself in such a way that Cat loses her balance, while she is able to gain a tighter grip on her. Cat is able to slam Illyana's back and head against the wall, but Illyana manages to grab Cat by her throat. She then wrestles her arm around the neck and snaps it. Illyana has just killed her best friend. As Illyana gets back up, she notices that she's numb, asking herself why she doesn't feel anything. Not elation nor grief, nothing. She asks herself if she doesn't care, and she wonders if she has become more like Belasco than she would like to admit. She then makes her way to a dying Storm, who is still lying on the floor and who tells Illyana that she did what she had to. She tells her to not weep or mourn for either one of them. Her killing Cat was a mercy killing, an act which freed Cat's soul from bondage. As she is slowly slipping away, she tells Illyana that within the heart, within the soul, lies the key to victory. They couldn't find it, but Illyana must. She tells Illyana to be glad for her, because she will be joining the one she loves now. But Belasco tells her that that is not quite the case. He tells her that she puts too much faith in Illyana, and that it's really quite touching. He tells Storm that he cannot let her go, not without demonstrating, beyond all shadow of a doubt, how flawed and corrupt a vessel Illyana has become under his tutelage. He continues by telling Storm that she was a superb pupil, and in many ways his equal, but his Darkchylde far outstrips her, and he tells her to behold what comes next. Illyana's chest starts to burn. Eldritch fire is consuming her clothes but not her skin, as Belasco's spell reveals the medallion around her neck. It opens up, and 2 of the 5 bloodstones are already in place. And once the circle is completed, Illyana will become the gate through which Belasco's Dread Masters will enter their universe. Belasco proceeds by saying that long ago he claimed Storm's soul, but he did underestimate her. She was able to steal it back from him. She would never again be the woman she once was, because her innocence could not be regained. But the good in her came to balance and eventually outweigh the evil inside of her. Of all the creatures his power has touched and tainted over the years, of all those he had made his disciples, only she has ever been able to break that hold. And that is a feat in itself and worthy of a reward. Now he and Illyana will first conjure up the 3rd bloodstone, and once that is done, they will strip Storm's soul from her body while she is still alive, and they will offer it to the Dark Ones, the ones he serves after that, as a sacrifice. He calls her a harlot and tells her that her death will not herald her freedom at all, but instead will usher in her eternal damnation. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can help growing this channel by hitting the like button and by subscribing. This tells YouTube that the videos I'm making should be recommended to others and would be very much appreciated. See you next episode.